Beneath the unforgiving sun of the Egyptian desert, where history is measured in millennia, the familiar rhythm of discovery was about to be shattered. Near the Baharia oasis, a place renowned for its valley of golden mummies, a team of researchers believed they were unearthing another chapter in a well-known story. In late 2024, they descended into a burial shaft, sealed for more than 3,000 years against the relentless march of time. The upper chambers were a textbook of late-period funerary practice. Canopic jars stood silent sentinel. Amulets promised safe passage to the underworld, and inscriptions called upon the familiar gods, Osiris and Anubis. But as the team reached the lowest level, the familiar gave way to the profound. There, waiting in the darkness, seamless block of polished basalt, its surface etched with symbols that belonged to no known lexicon. With painstaking care, the heavy lid was lifted. Inside, wrapped in decaying linen and flecks of gold leaf, lay the remains of a humanoid figure. And then, a collective, chilling silence fell over the chamber. The skull, cradled within the ancient wrappings, was a biological impossibility. It was elongated, stretching backwards in a graceful, yet deeply unsettling arc. This was no product of artificial cranial deformation, the practice seen in ancient cultures across the globe. There were no telltale signs of binding or compression. The very structure of the bone was alien, denser, smoother, and most unnervingly, lacking the cranial sutures that fused the plates of a human skull. Its eye sockets were vast, dark ovals, dominating a face with a nasal cavity that was little more than a whisper of a feature. It was a form that defied every known branch of the hominid family tree. Rushed from the desert to the sterile confines of the laboratory, the enigma only deepened. Radiocarbon dating silenced any suspicion of a modern hoax, confirming the remains were over 2,800 years old. But it was the genetic analysis that pushed the discovery into the realm of the unbelievable. At the University of Zurich, scientists attempted to extract its DNA. The results were inconclusive, a phantom signal in the noise. The mitochondrial fragments they managed to isolate matched no known human haplogroup, ancient or modern. As one lead geneticist, driven back to the tomb, Egyptologists re-examined the strange hieroglyphs on the basalt sarcophagus. A single cryptic phrase appeared again and again, a phrase, très rare. Around the sarcophagus lay other anomalies, fragments found in far greater concentrations in meteorites than in the Earth's crust. A single, silent skull, unearthed from the sands of time, now poses a question that echoes through the halls of history. It suggests that the ancient Egyptians, a civilization that mapped the stars with breathtaking precision, may have been looking back at something that was looking down at them. What they worshipped, or perhaps what they feared, may not have been born of mythology, but of memory. The watcher from the sky now watches us from a display case, a silent testament to the idea that our history is not as we have written it, and our place in the cosmos is not as certain as we believe. In the shifting sands, where the past is never truly buried, a discovery was made that threatened to unravel the very fabric of history. It began not with gold or sarcophagi, but with a quiet anomaly. Nearby, a constellation of small, perfectly spherical stones had been unearthed, arranged in a precise circular pattern. They were strangely dense, cool to the touch, and possessed a faint, inexplicable magnetic charge. But this was merely the prelude to a far deeper enigma. The body itself had been showed a whisper of radiation, a spectral energy signature, too weak to be harmful, yet potent enough to be detected. It spoke of materials and processes utterly alien to the artisans of ancient Egypt. And then there was the skull. Scientists at first were divided. Some theorized it represented a lost lineage, an undiscovered offshoot of early Homo sapiens, a species that walked alongside our ancestors only to vanish into the mists before the dawn of recorded time. Others grasped for more conventional explanations, suggesting it was the result of extreme ritual modification or the tragic signature of a forgotten disease. Yet, none of these hypotheses could withstand the silent testimony of the object itself. The skull's flawless symmetry defied the crude practice of binding. Its unusual bone chemistry and the complete absence of deformation scars pointed away from pathology. It pointed to something else entirely. Dr. Nadia El-Mazri, a lead archaeologist from Cairo University, recounted her first encounter with the find. "When I saw it," she explained, "my initial thought was that it must be a model, a sculpted representation of some deity. It was too perfect. But the scans showed it was real bone, real tissue. Whatever this being was, it lived and died thousands of years ago, and it was not human as we understand the term." As the excavation expanded, the mystery deepened. Subsequent work at the site revealed two more profound anomalies. First, a series of shallow petroglyphs etched into the tomb's stone walls. They depicted slender figures with the same impossibly elongated heads, standing beside anatomically modern humans. In their hands, they held staffs or tools that appeared to emit brilliant rays of light. The second discovery was a narrow tunnel branching away from the main burial shaft. It led to a collapsed chamber and had been vitrified, melted into a smooth, dark sheet. The temperatures required for such a geological transformation would need to exceed 1,500 degrees Celsius, a level of heat utterly unattainable with the technology known to exist in the ancient world. Researchers are now locked in a race against time, performing painstaking isotope analysis on the skull and its associated artifacts. They seek a chemical fingerprint, a clue to its origins. The preliminary findings have only compounded the riddle. The skull's bone composition contains isotopic ratios inconsistent with those found in the Nile Valley or anywhere on Earth's surface. In a suggestion that borders on the fantastical, geologists have noted that the isotopic signature bears a striking resemblance to samples recovered from meteorite impact sites. This single anomalous skeleton has reopened one of archaeology's most ancient and contentious questions. Did our earliest civilizations interact with beings they would later immortalize as gods? The foundational texts of ancient Egypt are filled with references to the Netaru, the divine beings who came from the stars, bringing with them the gifts of wisdom, cosmic order, and civilization itself. For centuries, mainstream scholarship has categorized these tales as beautiful, foundational myths. But now, confronted with physical evidence that refuses to conform to known human biology, those myths are beginning to cast a much longer shadow. Amidst the Sphatian and national security has severely restricted all public access to the excavation site. The questions linger in the dust of the desert. We search for our origins in the earth, assuming the story of humanity is a terrestrial one. But perhaps, all this time, we have been looking in the wrong place. Perhaps the greatest clues to who we are lie not in the ground beneath our feet, but in the silent, star-filled sky from which we once believed our gods came. Leaked reports whisper of a second skull, unearthed from the deepest recesses of a forgotten shaft. It is described as smaller, more delicate than any human precedent, and encased in mince hold true, they point not to a single burial, but to an entire funereal group. Perhaps a species unknown to science, a silent branch of a history we thought was exclusively our own. The mere possibility has sent reverberations through the scientific community, forcing a fundamental re-evaluation of our most cherished beliefs about the ancient past. But this anomaly is only one thread in a far larger tapestry of enigma. Deep beneath the shifting sands of Egypt, another mystery waits: Saqqara. For millennia, the name has meant the beautiful West, the silent city of the dead. A vast necropolis sprawling across the desert plateau, it is a library written in stone and sand, its volumes sealed by time, holding secrets that have confounded Egyptologists for centuries. Stretching along the western bank of the Nile, a short journey from modern Cairo, Saqqara served as the primary burial ground for the ancient capital of Memphis during Egypt's Old Kingdom. Its most famous landmark is the step pyramid of Djoser, a titan of the ancient world. Conceived by the visionary architect Imhotep, it is not merely a tomb, but a declaration. Humanity's first monumental structure built entirely of stone, a permanent stairway reaching for the heavens. Yet this iconic pyramid is but a single chapter in an immense, multi-layered chronicle. The grounds are a labyrinth of tombs, mastabas, and hidden chambers, a sprawling testament to 3,000 years of pharaonic civilization, much of which has remained untouched, unexplored. Until 2018. In that year, the site became the epicenter of an archaeological earthquake. A team of Egyptian archaeologists, working in the shadow of the Great Pyramid, stumbled upon a series of inconspicuous burial shafts. What they found there would begin to peel back the layers of Saqqara's deep history, promising to illuminate the past as never before. At first, it appeared to be a significant yet conventional discovery. More than 30 sealed wooden coffins, many of them miraculously intact, their vibrant pigments defying the passage of over 2,500 years. This find alone was monumental, but it was merely a prelude. The ordinary-seeming tomb was, in fact, the tip of a subterranean iceberg, the gateway to a hidden world waiting patiently for its rediscovery. These sarcophagi belonged to the elites of their time, high-ranking officials, powerful priests, and nobles who served during the 26th dynasty. This was the Site period, a late-era renaissance, a final, defiant flourish of native Egyptian rule before the arrival of foreign conquerors. It is a period often overshadowed by the colossal achievements of the Old and New Kingdoms. Yet these coffins told a story of immense wealth, artistry, and unwavering faith. What was truly astonishing was their state of preservation. The arid embrace of the desert had been kind. Many were adorned with impossibly vivid colors and intricate carvings, their surfaces a canvas of devotion. Hieroglyphs, painted in brilliant blues derived from lapis lazuli and greens from malachite, detailed the names, titles, and lineage of the deceased. They offered prayers to Osiris, lord of the underworld, and inscribed spells from the Book of the Dead, intended to guide the soul through the perilous journey of the afterlife. Within these sealed vessels, a forgotten world slept, offering an intimate glimpse into the lives and deaths of a people from a distant shore of time. Each new shaft opened, each coffin revealed, deepens the narrative, but also complicates it, hinting that the greatest secrets of Saqqara are not those we have found, but those that still lie waiting. Each discovery here is not an answer, but a more profound question. The sands do not simply bury the past, they preserve its mysteries, holding them in trust until we are ready to comprehend them. And as we stand at the edge of these newly opened shafts, looking down into the darkness, we are forced to wonder what other truths, what other histories, what other humanities might still be sleeping, silent and patient, beneath the eternal desert. From the silence of ages, they emerged, not as simple tombs, but as vessels of profound meaning. Each coffin, sealed against the passage of millennia, was a canvas, meticulously inscribed with a celestial language. These were not mere decorations, they were maps to the afterlife, a complex dialogue with the gods, a secret knowledge passed down through generations of Egypt's elite. Within the ornate iconography lay the very blueprint of their world, the religious beliefs that shaped their destiny, the rituals that governed their days, and the rigid societal structures that ordered their lives. Their astonishing preservation defies expectation, challenging our modern understanding of ancient embalming and the unique alchemy of the desert climate that cradled them. For thousands of years, they lay undisturbed, a silent testament to a forgotten mastery. But as the excavations deepened, the desert revealed it was guarding a far greater secret. In the year 2020, archaeologists unearthed something that would rewrite the maps of this sacred landscape. A network of hidden chambers, a subterranean world connected by shafts and tunnels previously unknown to human eyes. Speculation ignited. Were these the final resting places for a dynasty's nobility, hidden away from the prying hands of tomb robbers? Or were they sanctuaries, consecrated for ceremonies too sacred for the light of day? Their true purpose remains shrouded in the dust of antiquity. What rituals unfolded in this profound darkness, and why were they concealed so completely, buried beneath layers of rock and sand, a secret kept for an eternity? Evidence now suggests these chambers were not isolated, but part of a far grander design, a complex that may stretch beneath the foundations of the step pyramid itself. The necropolis of Saqqara, it seems, was more than a city of the dead. It was a vital artery of the ancient world, a religious center whose influence pulsed far beyond the capital of Memphis. Then, in 2021, a breakthrough offered a singular, breathtaking glimpse into this hidden history. A massive, untouched tomb was opened, revealing the resting place of a high-ranking priest named Watai. Dating back some 4,400 years, it was a time capsule sealed against eternity, one of the most complete and pristine ever found. Inside, the walls spoke. Stunning hieroglyphs and vibrant paintings depicted the priest's life in extraordinary detail, his family, his duties, his intimate connection to the gods. Yet this remarkable clarity only deepened the enigma. Why was the tomb of such a significant figure, a man of power and influence, so perfectly hidden, so lost to time? With every layer of sand brushed away, Saqqara reveals not answers, but more resonant questions. It reminds us that history is not a closed book, but a living landscape, with entire worlds still waiting silently to be found.